Hi there, welcome to Killian's Kitchen. Today we are doing mayonnaise. I'm not a massive fan of mayonnaise, but when I do have it or need it, I like to make it myself. You know what you're putting in there, you know what you're getting, and you can control it. And you don't have to deal with all the junk they put in commercially available mayonnaise. So let's get started. The first thing you need is egg yolks. So I'm separating the egg yolks. We are going to do 3 today, which will give you a fairly healthy amount of mayonnaise. That's 2 and 3. Now some people do it with the egg whites. Nothing wrong with that. You can do it. Makes it perhaps a little fluffier. I'm just going to go with the egg yolks. So you want to start out by beating this guy, and you know, you can do this with a blender or with any kind of automatic beating device. I'm going old school. So give it a bit of a whirl, and then the next thing we're going to do is Dijon mustard. Now, pretty much a tablespoon per egg yolk that I put in there seems to do the trick. And we'll continue beating, and we are going to beat this until it's quite well mixed. And the whole deal with mayonnaise is that you have to get the emulsion working. You have to get it mixed properly, because the next thing we're going to add now is the main ingredient, oil. So this is where the mayonnaise gets born, and you can use any kind of oil you want. You can even use olive oil, but that does tend to have a bit of a flavor to it, depending on the olive oil. This grapeseed oil is quite neutral, so I like to use this. So add the oil slowly, little bit by little bit, because if you add it all at once, it's going to screw up the emulsion process. If, of course, you're using a blender, you can just add it all at once, doesn't matter. So I'm going to start with just a couple of drops. And immediately you see there's a shine going on there. And then a couple more. And we're just going to keep doing that over the course of, a couple of minutes. And just never at any point add too much at once. And we typically do about 150 milliliters or so per egg yolk that you put in. But of course it's to taste. Now we're going to add a couple of seasoning items there a little later, but some people put that in the beginning. I think probably if you're doing it in a machine, it doesn't matter. You can do it in the beginning. I tend to prefer doing all that once all of the oil is in. Now this bottle is a 500 milliliter bottle, so I'm going to go almost to the end of it, because I have 3 yolks in here, so that's 450. Every now and then just turn the bowl and give it a good whirl. Now of course you want to use the freshest eggs possible. Not always easy to do in these parts. Much easier to get fresher eggs in Europe or somewhere where they don't refrigerate the eggs. And why do I like to do it this way, the old school way, you might ask? Well, there's no real reason. I don't know if you would do a blindfold test comparing this to one that was done with a machine. Probably won't notice the difference, but for me, the process, I just feel closer to the food when I'm doing it like this, rather than putting it all in a machine and pushing the button. I usually don't measure things much, it's by feel, and so it's the same with the oil, stop when you think it's too shiny, but you're not going to mess anything up if you put too much or too little. Alright, so I'm feeling that's about it for the oil, and so I'm going to give one good last mix here, and you can see how creamy it's looking there, but the mixing is not done. Next thing we're going to do is a pinch of salt and some pepper. You probably want to put it on the finest possible. Give that a whirl. And then the next thing will be lemon. Or you can use vinegar, or you can use both. Doesn't really matter. Tends to have a slightly fresher, sort of zesty taste when you use lemon. And the other thing is, that was half a lemon, I didn't do it all. The other thing is, look how it changes the color. It lessens the yellow of the mayonnaise. And give it a taste. Yum. Do a little more salt. And just because I wanted a little more zing, a little more pepper. And I think I'm done with the lemon in there, so I'm going to do a couple of dabs of the vinegar. I'm just using a rice vinegar. Usually I prefer a more neutral white balsamic, but don't have that right now. And look how creamy that is looking. Oh, that's good. That is really good. Okay, now I feel it's just a tiny bit more watery than I wanted it, so I'm going to add yet a little more oil. And that is a lot better. Look at that. It just sort of comes up a little firmer. And of course you don't want it super firm because this is, you know, meant for salads and stuff like that. So look at that consistency. That's perfect. It's not too firm, not too runny. And it tastes awesome. You can now at this point add anything you want. Garlic, chives. You can spruce it up any way you want. Some people want to maybe put sugar in there. You know, it's really up to you. This is a base to go crazy and do whatever you want. Some people put cornichons in there, all sorts of weird things. Some people will even put chilies and stuff in there, you know, any hot sauce, sriracha, any kind of stuff. So that is my mayonnaise. Now because I have a bit of preservatives in there, I've got the lemon and the vinegar, this will last in your fridge. But because of the eggs, it's not going to last that long. So maybe a week or so at max, at the most. I would say probably just a few days is the safest. Okay, so from 3 yolks, from 3 eggs, 450 mils of oil, a couple of other little ingredients, and a little bit of love and elbow grease, I was able to procure for myself a jar of mayonnaise, homemade mayonnaise. Beautiful stuff that you can use in salad and all sorts of things. And you will never ever again go and buy mayonnaise in a store if you try this at home. I promise you. That is it. Mayonnaise, super easy, super quick, and healthy. You know exactly what's in there. Go get yourself some.